Hey everyone, Arvid here. I know it has been a while, but I am back with a very exciting update to a previously covered tool, the SpeedTree Controller by Karsten. If you have been loving the SpeedTree Controller so far, this update will actually blow you away because it has been updated on several fronts. It is a lot more efficient, it's very quick to use, and a very exciting thing, it now has full RBD support. So all you have to do is drop in the node, click a couple of buttons, and you can destruct trees in a very easy fashion. So now let's dive into it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, as always, we are back in Houdini. Let's just click a couple of ways here to separate my views, and we are currently in the object context where we can create stuff. So let's create a new geometry context here. Maybe just rename this to tree and jump in here. And now all we got to do is either navigate to CB and then SpeedTree and import. And then you can see by default, it already comes in now with a template tree. So this tree already has a couple of cool things. You can start trunk animation and you can now see things starting to move quite quick. So this is now with the template tree, and you can quickly click through the default buttons to get the desired effect as shown before. But now let's, instead of doing the default tree, let's potentially change it to an Alembic import. This is something which you would grab from tree, like an exported tree from there. Now it's loading that up. This is a little bit more sophisticated tree, and you can see this would be a good production tree which you can use in some of your renders. By default, it might be a bit heavy, so you have a new tab here to optimize the geometry. And if you're not sure what they are, you can either hover over them to see what they are, or you can open up the help and you get the full SpeedTree Controller help, which is amazing. So if you're not unsure, first always refer to the docs. It's very detailed. There's all the info you need for the most part. So what I'm saying, geometry process, you can either reduce the polygons so it will be not as dense from the SpeedTree exporter. And the cool thing is you can also remove branches, random branches to either be very quick, to be quicker in simming things and working with that, or if you in general want to just reduce the overall density of the tree, so you can increase it, and you can see we're losing more and more leaves. Now let's just click through the default process as shown in earlier versions. You will start with a trunk animation. You can actually hit play. You can see it's now wiggling back and forth, and we can keep it looping. We definitely want to have static roots so they are not wiggling with it. We can then just slide the sway strength. And this is now where the initial geometry process comes in handy, because you can obviously now remove it with one click and you get the full tree, and you will see there's a speed impact now because there's just a lot more geometry to deal with. But for quick setup, it's pretty cool to just remove a couple of branches and then you have pretty much a real-time feedback here. All right, so now one exciting thing is that you can, from here, go to Solaris tab or Arnold tab, which will create the legacy rendering ROPs, or the Solaris where you can just say, hey, I want to use comma, or you can actually pick Arnold too, and you just say create setup, and from here on out, it will create the shaders and everything that comes along with it, and it will provide you with a pretty nice SpeedTree in Solaris render scene in Solaris. So Shift R to initialize comma XVU. You can see now, there we go. How quick was that? Ready to render. Put it into your shots and drop it and render and have amazing trees. So one cool thing, which I can quickly show, is you can fairly easy create a forest. And let me show you how to do it. So let's say we go up till here, and we want to first say we want to create a terrain. So sub create. Let's just look into this, and we jump in here. Create a height field. That's now 1000 units in size. We can just do an HF noise like that. Maybe play up the amplitude, something like that, super quick, and reduce the roughness. That. All right, that's my terrain. And we can do HF mask by feature like that. And we can probably play with the slopes a little bit. And then we can do HF convert. So now we are converting this to geometry. And we can bake the point color. So now if I display my mask, you can see we have the mask right on top of this. That's perfect. All right, from now on, we can just copy this, go to the stage, and let's create an instance and put the stage in here, like our terrain, and then we do our tree like so. And now obviously it's complaining, but we can change the option to use the entire stage as a prototype. And it says, hey, I don't have anything to instance. And if I drop my height field in here, you can already see it started instancing. So what I want to do is actually use a scatter align, which will generate me points on this by coverage. And now we should have a lot less points. You can see it's already scattering like crazy. So one thing actually, which I forgot to show, if we go back to object context under the tree, there is a way to include tree proxy. You definitely want to do that if you go to the Solaris side, because then you can go into the view here and say, I just want to see the preview. All right, I had to actually recreate the setup because it then actually sets up the proxies beforehand. And now you can see we have all these trees scattered fairly quick and got them in place here. Quite a few trees, and we can adjust the radius, make them smaller and taller. We can actually create a normal, adjust vector, and create a normal attribute on the top here, and then have them point upwards. That way all the trees will point properly up. There we go. Now the trees are pointing up as they should. Scatter line, you can have them lean over and rotate them 360 degrees. So let's have them lean over a little bit. And we can also play with the scale by attribute and just use the mask attribute for this. And now wherever we painted something, we get trees. So this is a way to kind of control where you want to scatter trees, fairly quick to do. And if you want to adjust that, obviously you go back into your sub create and play with this mask here. All right, so now we have that in place. And all we have to do now, because everything is now displayed as proxy, we can find a nice angle, maybe something dense like this here in the foreground. And then we can just hit Shift R, and then XView will initialize, and boom, we have a rendered forest. Did you see how easy that was? So this is now, it's probably not too many trees. So this is now, if we're looking at the point count, we now have 50,000 trees, and it's quite easy. You can just now go crazy and increase the coverage. How many do we have now? 140,000 trees. And it doesn't really care about it because it's just an instance of a single tree, and now we have a lot more trees. And it's a very quick way to instance them. You can see how quick it renders. And yeah, as I said, it's a lot of detail with one single tree. But even this already, you can see if I go really close into it, you can see how believable it looks already. Super easy to do. Amazing work. And what I can say already, in an upcoming version, in a new version of the SpeedTree Controller, we will be supporting RBD simulations on forests like this. So you could put in avalanches or maybe some rock rolling down or dinosaurs walking within the forest to create some really dynamic looks. All right, now you thought this was the highlight of the video, but now we will actually go into the RBD side of things, which I haven't touched on yet, because this is still kind of the legacy way to work with the SpeedTree Controller, which has been revamped a lot. But now we will be focusing on the RBD side. So you will see at the top here, there's now RBD simulation setup. Let's click that. This will create a brand new node, which is very sophisticated. It's kind of a Uber node that has lots and lots of things in here. And the first thing you will see is that there is this drop-down process. And these are all the steps you have to click through to get a quick setup. Obviously, you can just jump from one thing to RBD sim. You can do that. And then it will take a couple of seconds to just create everything. And then you have a fully set up RBD scene. You can see now the tree kind of works. You got the ball, boom, and the tree shatters. How crazy was that? I have no knowledge, let's put it like that, about setting up constraints and all of that. And all you have to do is go from step 1 to 10 and you have a fully working sim setup. And obviously it has an example collider. You can pick a couple of ones, or you can just actually use your own RBD collider. So first of all, you have the option to obviously define how much you want to fracture the trunks. You can see this is the trunk setup. Now, if you want to fracture the roots, how many fractures do you want? How big the overlap? You can adjust the cutting faces. the roughness of that's just a step here. And then you have the trunk fracturing. You can also display the exploded view, so you can see how many fracture points you want for this. Probably the trunk doesn't scatter too much or break too much, so probably 3 is just fine. Let's disable exploded view. And now tree constraints. This is quite interesting because in here you can define how bendy or how easily a tree breaks. So you have all these options here to when things break. So obviously you have the root grounded attachment, and then you've got your main trunk. Fracture is like how much distance does it need to move before it completely breaks apart. Will it convert to glue? Then it won't really shatter. So let's just visualize this. If I hit play, the ball should come, and now it's just a gluey. You can see the trunk is just bending and pushing the ball back. And if you want it to be softer or whatever, you can adjust the constraint strength. And now if the ball hits it, it should really break fairly quick. You can see now everything folds apart very, very quick. Or you can make it very strong. Let's see if it's strong enough. Yeah, kind of. And then it kind of stays rigid. So it's actually moving the trunk within the ground. So it's actually pretty believable that it does this. And you can also then add UVs for the inside if you want to do all of that, or just visualize the completed tree like this. You can merge in the leaves, you can pack them so they are instanced. We don't have a wind sim yet on the leaves. They are just kind of static. But you can, this is for the most part already quite sufficient. You can see how well they kind of stick on the tree and kind of move with it. You can still, as I said, you can add the wind anim after, and now the leaves are also like blowing in the wind, and then you can just see the entire tree with the RBD sim, and now it has wind as well applied to it. So I would say this is pretty epic. And let's say just for the fun, we can use this now actually to pass this to Solaris, the broken tree. I'm not sure if actually the sphere and all of that will come along, but let's just see what happens. We go to Solaris now with that different tree, and this is now our broken tree, and we scattered the same asset all over, and now we have that. So it's super powerful, and imagine what you can do with just a couple of clicks, and you get this now kind of obviously single variation tree, but it's now based off an RBD sim. So I would say this is pretty amazing. And yeah, Karsten did an exceptional job in setting this up. And yeah, I'm just helping out here, giving feedback and requesting features pretty much. But he's the guy behind the scenes who's actually working on it, developing all of this stuff. And you can see if I tap here, there's a lot more tools from Karsten. Obviously, not everything is available online, but I have his repo, so you can see he's working on a lot of stuff. He's a very talented effects artist, and yeah, he's just pushing out tools and everything. And the SpeedTree Controller is one big thing we kind of work together, and we are promoting this on Gumroad as well. All right, I hope you are also blown away the same way as I was when I first played with this. This is super intuitive, super quick to use, and yeah, you can one-click render in Solaris, you can scatter stuff, trees, forests, everything. It's super amazing. And yeah, and as I said, we have a little promotion, so the first 10 people purchasing the updated SpeedTree Controller through Gumroad will get a nice 50% discount. Pretty cool stuff, so be quick. They will probably go out pretty fast. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.